Hello, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today we are going to cover part 1 of next level consciousness, living in equanimity. Okay? So, in a few of my previous videos, I want you to know that I've been sort of warming you up to this, alright? And so if you've been following along with this channel so far, you know that I've made a video about why judgment is the worst problem solver ever. And we sort of talked about why judgment puts us in this state of being closed down to understanding information, and that blocks us from moving forward in our lives, right? So that we can't actually solve any problems from a state of judgment because it blocks us from understanding what's actually happening in the circumstance and therefore being able to make a change about it, right? And then I made another video on why the worst thing in your life, the thing that you can't accept, the thing you hate the most, is actually your biggest blessing, right? Because it is teaching you how to relax and release resistance to what is happening in order to fully learn from your life experience, right? So we've been warming up to this, okay? And then even the very last video that I did, the Real Talk for Lightworkers, episode 12, where we talked about shielding yourself from negative energy, and we realized that there is no such thing as negative energy, there is no such thing as positive energy, there is only energy, and we are either in allowance of that energy or we are in resistance, right? And it is that resistance that makes us feel bad. So, right? Basically, we could definitely boil down all of my videos to saying that when you are in a state of resistance, right? When you are resisting anything, you are feeling bad. And when you are in a state of allowing, when you are allowing what is happening, you are going to feel good, right? And now we're going to get into a little bit of complicated territory that might sound complicated, but in practicality and actuality, it's really not that complicated. And when you experience it, it's really not that complicated. However, it might sound complicated because it's going to fly in the face a little bit of what we have assumed is the way that things are as humans and the way that we have to experience life, okay? So now that you're starting to see, right, that resistance and judgment and being closed off to what's happening is actually the thing that is making you feel bad in your life, not the things themselves, right? We can start to have this conversation about equanimity and why it is such an important thing to move towards if you want to be in a state of happiness, okay? So, right, just feel that for a moment, right? That you're starting to wrap your mind around this idea that even though for your whole life you've been told that if good things happen to you, you will feel good, and if bad things happen to you, you will feel bad, right? And even if you've been told your whole life, if you're in resistance to who, right, if, that you are a specific being and that you have specific things that are supposed to happen to you and that your emotional guidance system is going to send you negative emotions, right, when you're out of alignment with yourself, and send you positive emotions when you're in alignment with yourself. So you need to constantly be working to find those things that are in alignment with yourself and reject those things that are out of alignment with yourself so that you can feel good, right? These are stepping stones. I want you to understand that everything that we're learning here, right, we learn these things in phases. We don't learn the whole big lesson all at once, because for most of us, that would be so radically different from where we're currently at in our consciousness that we wouldn't be able to actually assimilate the lesson, right? And this is why we say that learning happens in a spiral, right? That every single time you go around having a repeat experience, which most of us do, right? We have repeat emotional experiences, we have repeat, actual physical experiences, we have repeat mental experiences. And just to understand that literally if you're allowing yourself to learn bit by bit from each time you go through your experiences, you are coming closer and closer and closer to the ultimate truth that specific frequency is trying to teach you, all right? So we experience things over and over and over again because we get a little bit of the lesson each time. We get a little bit of the understanding each time, a little bit of the understanding each time. So if you get nothing else from this video, right, please take that if you are repeating your experiences over and over and over again, this does not mean that you're not learning. This does not mean that you're out of alignment with yourself. This does not mean that you've done something wrong. This does not mean that you're stupid. This does not mean any of these things. This means that you are a human having a human experience the way that the human experience is for everybody. All right? We all repeat stuff because we take things from a different vantage point every single time we experience what we're experiencing. Even if we're in resistance, okay? Even if we're totally in resistance to learning what we need to learn, obviously we're going to repeat the experience, and it will be a similar vibrational experience, a similar energetic experience, a similar emotional experience, a similar physical reality experience, because we're not allowing ourselves to learn what it is we need to learn from that experience so that we can move on to a new level of it or a different experience altogether, right? So that's the first thing, right, is to understand that it is not your experiences that are making you feel bad, all right? It is your level of resistance to your experience that is making you feel bad, right? It is not the negative emotion itself that makes you feel bad. It is your resistance to the negative emotion that makes you feel bad. So this is where we're going with this equanimity talk, okay? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a broad picture, all right, to explain what a life lived in equanimity is like. And then I'm going to take it back to the first step that you can take to move yourself towards this, all right? So broad spectrum. What I want you to understand is that when you're living in a state of equanimity, right, you are in a state of perpetual joy, all right? Now, I want you to understand that when we say you are in a state of perpetual joy, this does not mean that you have fully and completely realized yourself, all right? This does not mean that your circumstances are now perfect and nothing bad ever happens to you again, all right? It does not mean that you never experience a negative emotion again. It does not mean that you never get your heart broken again. It does not mean that none of your friends ever died, right? It doesn't mean any of these things, okay? Living from a state of equanimity means no matter what is arising within you, around you, you can maintain a frequency of joy no matter what. So literally what this means is that you can be sad and in a state of joy at the same time, okay? Because this joy state, this love state, this enlightenment state, all right, is not an end goal thing where everything has been accomplished and now you're there, all right? You can be in a state of enlightenment and be completely out of alignment with the source frequency that you are, okay? If you are saying, I'm completely okay with being out of alignment with myself and this journey that I'm going to take to get back into alignment with myself, right? You are going to be in a state where you understand that we all step down into vibrational density for a reason. We all step down and forgot who we are, right? Forgot what our source frequency is like, forgot everything, right? In order to walk ourselves back to that understanding. In order to experience the contrast over and over and over and over and over again. To learn who we are via the route of experiencing who we are not, right? And so really, at the end of the day, the greatest, most painful thing that is the human experience, the one root of pain that is the human experience, is the idea that we shouldn't be out of alignment with ourselves. That's all it is, right? It is the idea that love can go away. We believe that, right? And that shouldn't be a thing. All right? So when we say, the idea that love can go away, just understanding that when you are rejecting any aspect of yourself, when you are rejecting any aspect of your reality, right? You are stepping out of alignment with love, which love is simply a state of allowing, okay? Love is a state where you are allowing for your experiences to unfold so that you can learn from them, right? Because that's what it is. When you are in a state of allowing, you are in a state of learning. You are in a state of growth. You are in a state of expansion. No matter where you are, no matter what's happening, no matter what that looks like, you can be in a state of love and be completely depressed at the same time, right? And when we are in a state of fear, that is when we don't feel good, right? When we are in a state of fear, we are in a state of not allowing, therefore we are not learning, we are not growing, we are not expanding, we are staying stuck, and that is what feels bad, right? So that is the fundamental truth of life. It is not about completely knowing who you are and fully living that out before you can say that you are in a state of joy all the time, all right? because that's not what this is going to be, right? You are going to come to a place where you understand that you are going to be continually learning for the rest of your life. You are going to be continually deepening your awareness of yourself. You are going to be continually deepening your knowledge of the universe. You are going to be continually stepping deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the expression of who you are. And you're never going to get it done. Okay? So if we have this expectation of ourselves that I'm not going to be able to feel joyful all the time until I'm done, until I've totally discovered who I am, until I've completely figured life out, until I'm completely expressing myself, we're never going to be in a state of joy, right? Because that's not going to happen. That's not the point. The point of life is the journey, right? The point of life is to be so far away from ourselves, and then the continual evolution towards who we truly are, and then the expansion of that, right? So it's like, even if you get to a place where you fully are like knowing who you are and you're living it, you're going to then want to expand upon that, right? So there's never going to be an end point, right? We're never going to get there. And that's why that is not what is required to live in this state of joy all the time. That is not what is required to be an enlightened person. This is why we can see that there are definitely enlightened people out there who change and grow and expand and become different, right? Because they're still on their journey. The difference between the enlightened person and the unenlightened person is simply that the enlightened person is allowing for it. The enlightened person is allowing for their emotions. The enlightened person is allowing for their experiences. The enlightened person is in a state of love, meaning they are in a state of receptivity, right? And everyone else who's in a state of resistance is getting stagnant and stuck and not learning and not growing and not progressing, and that is what is making them feel bad, right? So the ultimate truth about equanimity is that you accept yourself and you accept what is, including accepting the things that you can't accept. Okay, so this is how we're going to back it up. But that is basically what it is. To live in a state of equanimity is not to say, I have no emotions. It's not to say, my life is perfect and that's why I'm in a state of joy. It's not to say, I've completely figured myself out and I'm living that now. No. Okay? Equanimity is saying, I understand this is going to be a journey. This is always going to be a journey. I'm never going to get it done. It's not going to be over till it's over. And I am open to everything that's going to happen. Okay? That none of my experiences mean anymore that love is going to go away. Right? And again, this is why we want the circumstances that we want, because we genuinely believe that when we're in a circumstance that we believe to be bad, all that means is we think that when we're in this circumstance, love has gone away, right? And that when we are in the circumstance that we think is good, right, that love is available. So when we are in a state of equanimity, we are understanding that love never goes away. That there is absolutely no circumstance that means love goes away. That there is absolutely nothing about you that means love goes away. There is absolutely nothing that can happen to you that means love has to go away. And that is what equanimity is. You are in a state of allowing because you fully understand that love is natural, it is available all the time, and you either are rejecting what's happening to you, and that is what makes you feel bad, that is what cuts love off, or you are embracing what's happening to you, and you can feel that love no matter what's going on. All right? That's what enlightenment is. You realize you are free to feel love always, no matter what. Whatever's happening in your journey, it doesn't matter what's happening in your journey. You can feel love. And then you understand that you're going to learn and you're going to grow and you're going to go through things that are negative. You're going to go through painful experiences. You're going to have ups and downs and sadness and joy and you're going to have ecstatic experiences and you're going to have depressing experiences and awesome things are going to happen to you and terrible things are going to happen to you, and that all of that is a part of what is supposed to happen, right? None of that means that you're not in alignment with yourself. None of that means that you've made a mistake. None of that means that you're broken. None of that means that your vibration is low. None of that means anything, right? Your vibration is simply your point of how much you are allowing or resisting the love that exists in every circumstance, and then accepting what is. Okay, so back up. So this is being part one. How do we start to move towards equanimity, right? So I do not want you to misunderstand me here, all right? Because this is the thing that I think most people think of and go to when they first hear this teaching is, okay, this means I have to be in a state of peace and love about everything that's happening to me, right? So if usually when you know this person comes into my life, I hate them. I have to be like, never mind, I'm in a state of allowing, I love you, right? Or, you know, when I'm feeling sad, or when I'm feeling irritated with something, or I'm feeling angry about something or whatever, I have to shift myself to stop feeling that way and start feeling good, all right? And what I'm saying is no, right? That right there is your level of resistance that you have access to right now, all right? So the first step in moving towards a life of equanimity where you can be in joy no matter what's happening to you is to first completely and fully accept what you feel right now in this moment. Okay? No more trying to make yourself feel happy. No more trying to make yourself fit a random definition of love that has nothing to do with the definition of love. No more trying to make yourself into a fairy prince or princess, right? That's not what this is. This is not about being a good girl or a good boy, right? This is about saying, when I feel sad, I make room for myself to feel sad. Instead of saying, oh, I shouldn't be feeling sad, I should be feeling happy, I should be able to accept this thing, I should be able to love this person, blah, 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 blah. You say, I don't. Right here, right now, the thing that I can release my resistance to, right? If I can't release my resistance to the thing that's actually happening, right? Which most of us can't. That'll be in step 2, right? In step 1, all you have to do is release resistance to what you feel about what you're going through. All you have to do is release resistance to what you think about what you're going through. All you have to do is release resistance to the experience that you're having inside of yourself in response to the experience you're having outside of yourself. All right? And so what this means is that if, like I said, if you're sad, you let yourself feel sad. If you're angry, you let yourself feel angry. If you're judging somebody or judging something, you allow yourself to judge that thing. And this, I know, and that's why I'm saying I understand that this sounds complicated. And it sounds like you just told me that judgment is a bad thing, and now you're saying that I'm allowed to judge. Yes. Because the thing is, right, if we understand that judgment is what cuts us off to understanding. When we are judging something, and then judging ourselves for judging, right, we're double cutting ourselves off from information. You see? Right? And most of us can't move from judging the thing, judging myself, to completely accepting myself, completely accepting the thing, so now I can learn from it. Most of us are not that step away, right? So the first step that you're going to take towards being able to be in a state of equanimity in your circumstances, right, the thing that you're judging, is to first stop judging yourself for judging, right? So wherever your level of resistance that you can release now is the level you want to go to. So if you can't release resistance to being upset about the thing you're upset about, right, then you release resistance to being upset about it. If you can't release resistance to the thing you're judging, you release resistance to the judgment that you have about how you're judging, right? You allow yourself to feel and you allow yourself to think whatever you're thinking and feeling right now. And you train yourself to say, I am still worthy of love even though I'm angry. I am still worthy of love even though I'm sad. I am still worthy of love even though I'm judging. Because this is the reason these things feel bad. The negative emotion in and of itself is not what makes you feel bad, right? As I said, we can be in a state of sadness and a state of joy at the same time. The thing that makes us feel bad is when we're in a state of sadness and we are rejecting the sadness. We are rejecting ourselves in the sadness. Essentially, that's really what's happening. We're not rejecting the sadness. We are saying, I can't be sad because when I'm sad, love goes away, right? I can't be loved. I can't receive love. And this is why I would say, go back and do that emotional master series over and over and over again, right? Literally be in your heart space room with all of your emotions as many times as you can with every single emotion, because you're going to discover that the only reason any emotion ever feels bad for you is because you have an underlying understanding that when this happens, love goes away. When I feel this way, love goes away. And when you start to be able to love and accept yourself even when you're sad, even when you're angry, even when you've yelled at everyone, right? And you love and accept that part of yourself, all of a sudden, number one, these emotions stop feeling so terrible, right? You'll notice that you can be sad and it won't be this huge, big, awful, life-consuming thing. You can just be sad and continue on, right? And at the same time, you will probably stop doing some of these self-destructive behaviors because this aspect of yourself that was just crawling for you to love them has been loved and no longer needs to act out. So like where you are. That's all you have to do. Like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff.